Hi and welcome to our presentation. My name is Adam Castle and today I'll be showing you how we can combine ABBY, K2 and UiPath for full lifecycle invoice processing. This demonstration showcases several different technologies. We have ABBY's FlexiCapture software to capture the data from invoices. We will then be using K2 for the digital process automation of this invoice solution to route tasks to the right people using external business rules. Once this invoice has been approved, you will then send a message to UiPath to make an online payment via a bank. We will also be using Power BI and Visio to create dashboards combining both process and business data. This will provide management with insights to the invoice process to see any bottlenecks and make better decisions around their performance improvements. Once the invoice has been received, ABBY will scan the invoice, extract the data, and then send the task to a user for verification. Once verified, ABBY will then extract the data to SQL Server and then start a K2 process to manage this invoice. Here we can see 4 stages of the invoice. Invoice check, where the user will fix any missing data. Goods receiving, budget exceptions, where we will read a DFA matrix to determine which user will get a task based on the invoice amount. And vendor check to ensure no fraudulent invoices are going to be paid. Please note for this scenario, the goods receiving will occur at the invoice check and we will also skip the vendor check. Once this invoice is approved, a message will then be sent to UiPath that an invoice requires payment. A robot will start and the invoice is paid through an online bank. Normally our Payable will work unattended and in the background, so it's not normally visible. However, in this case, I will manually start the robot and the set of actions that will be performed by RPA. We will start at the K2 workspace. We have a set of useful applications along the top, a dashboard providing an overview of tasks I have assigned to myself, and the K2 work list. K2 also provides the ability to create your own workspace. Here we have a custom workspace for the invoice processing. This demonstration starts at the FlexiCapture verification stage. ABBY has already picked up the invoice, scanned, extracted, and now allocated a task to a user to verify the data. We will click on Get Task. We can now see the invoice that was scanned and the data on the right-hand side that was extracted. We can review the data, make changes, and in this case we get happy and we'll complete the task. ABBY's verification process is now complete, and we will now wait for ABBY to export the data and start a K2 process. We can now see a new invoice process started. We can see within our dashboard the invoice appears at the top, and there is also a task within my work list down the bottom. Within our K2 task list, we can open up the form directly, action the items, and also look at the view flow that's running the invoice solution. The K2 view flow audits everything that occurs. So when the process starts, when someone has a task, when they action it, and of course when it completes. We can see here that the K2 process started. The green squares indicate a completed task, and we can now see we're currently active at the invoice review stage. We can open the task directly from the work list. We can also open the task from our dashboard. At the invoice review stage, we can see the extracted data on the left-hand side and the invoice on the right-hand side. On the left, we can see there are current issues, invoice date, and order number are currently missing. We can quickly resolve the invoice date by matching that to the invoice on the PDF on the right-hand side. For the order number, we can open up a list of purchase orders from our system of record. We can select the record and click on Assign. We also have a set of fields on the right hand side that are yellow and read only to prevent people from modifying the bank details. We can also add comments to our invoice as well. Here, anyone can come in and make a comment that others can review. K2 can also provide field level auditing, so we know who changed what field and when. Back at the details screen, we can also receive our goods. Down the bottom we have a list of invoice lines and the corresponding purchase order lines. You can see within our list we have applied conditional formatting. If nothing has been received, it is orange. If there's a partial receive, it's blue. And if everything has been received, it is green. We are happy with this invoice and we'll mark this as matched and add a comment. Issues resolved and goods received. That task is now complete and the K2 process will now continue. The K2 process will now read a DFA matrix to determine if a budget exceptions task is required. We have read a DFA matrix and determined a task is required to complete. K2 can send K2 notifications via email or through the messages on the right hand side. We will click on that to open our task. Here at the DFA approval stage, we can review the total cost and we can then add a comment to accept or reject our invoice. In this case, we will approve the invoice. We can now see the budget exception stage is complete, the invoice is approved, and K2 will now send a message to UiPath to process the invoice. We can now see a list of invoices that need to be paid. K2 has already sent a message to UiPath to indicate a payment is required. A robot will start and an invoice will be paid through an online bank. We have now opened up UiPath Studio. We can see the robot and a list of actions it must perform to complete the online payment. We will now click on Run to see this in action. The robot will now open up a list of invoices that need to be paid, as well as logging into an online bank. Here we can see the robot opening up a K2 Smart Forms, extracting the data from an invoice, and then making a payment directly into the bank itself. Once the invoice has been paid, the robot will also mark the invoice has been paid within K2 Smart Forms. We can also create dashboards using Power BI and Visio. We can combine both process and business data to create tiles and charts, and we can link the process data directly to the Visio diagrams to create heat maps. This allows us to see bottlenecks and provides deeper insights into the invoice process. I would like to take you back through what we have just seen. We use Abby FlexiCapture software to monitor a mailbox, extract the data, and then a task is sent to a user to verify the data that was extracted. We use K2 to manage the end-to-end life cycle of this invoice process. We use K2 Smart Forms to create dashboards and also create a rich UI where users can action their tasks. We use the UiPath RPA capabilities to scrape data from a K2 Smart Form and automate the payment of an invoice through an online bank. We then use Power BI and Visio to create dashboards that provides management with deeper insights into the invoice process. Thank you.